we can start. Like, I'm gonna still let some people in, but yeah, if you want, go ahead and we can start now.
Okay, that'd be great. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. We're so excited that you are here. If you have not attended one of my webinars or trainings before, please know I'm a very interactive teacher. So I want you to ask questions. Okay. If that means you raise your hand and the gentleman at Engine Hire tell me, you can speak, or if you want to put it in the chat box, the gentleman at Engine Hire will read it out. But I don't want you to have to wait until the end. So this webinar is going to be slightly different than our first one. If you haven't seen our first webinar, Engine Hire and MMC have recorded it, so we can get that over to you. But we talked about tips for corporate care. And this one, what I really want to focus on is mindset, developing the right mindset to be successful in corporate care. So I'm going to teach just a little bit, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do a little activity together where we are going to kind of work through some fake companies and how we would best serve their needs. So my goal at the end of this webinar is you have a better idea on what you need to know and do to launch corporate care and to be successful in it. Sound like a good plan? And then we're going to work it out together, and it's going to be tons of fun. All right, so let's get going. So the first thing that I want to let you know is what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about shifting our mindset, why you should offer corporate care. And then I have a couple of tips. Tip 1, help the company understand the problem. Tip 2 are 4 pricing models. Tip 3, be patient, which I probably have the hardest time with. Then we're going to do our fun little workshop. And then tip 4, continue to sell the benefit to the employees. So let's get in it. So I think we can all agree that you are the expert with helping families, right? You know what it takes to find out what a family truly needs. You know what qualities to look for in a candidate that can meet their needs, and you put the two together beautifully. And I hope that that side of your business is doing really well. But as we've also seen, the market is constantly shifting. And the idea of corporate care is going to allow you to have a little more stable income, because I love stability when it comes to my income. So the first thing I want to teach you is, why is corporate care different and how should we be looking at it differently? So I need you to shift your mindset here. With traditional placements, when we work with families have done their research and have chosen to work with you. They may have interviewed other agencies. They may have gone to your website, looked up your Google reviews. However, with corporate care, the company has chosen you, and you're offering this service as a benefit to their employees. Okay. So right away, there's a big difference, because the end user, which is the families, didn't say, okay, I'm choosing Tip for Tots to meet my needs. It's their employer did. Okay. Your registration process and your family needs assessment starts to build trust right away with your families, right? That's why you meet them on Zoom. You have them over the phone. Some of you are still going into client homes, right? Because you know the importance of the relationship. Yet with corporate care, we don't have a relationship with the family. We have yet to create any sort of trust with the end user. Okay, back to traditional placements, families have a very specific need that they want filled. But with corporate care, sometimes the company doesn't even understand that need. So right off the bat, you have to recognize that the way you do business has to change slightly, and your mindset around this has to change slightly to be successful. So I'm going to give you an analogy, and it's the in-network provider example. So say, excuse me, you are working, we'll say part-time because you have an agency. You're working for an employer part-time and they give you health benefits. However, those health benefits only cover in-network providers, right? So you go to a new doctor, a new dentist, a new eye doctor, because that's covered. You don't go to the eye doctor that you normally would. So the families, the end users, are seeing you as the in-network provider. They're seeing you as the most affordable option and the most accessible option, but maybe not the one that they would have picked individually. Why am I even bringing this up? Well, I'm bringing it up because it impacts everything when we talk about the fact that you're going to have to build trust with them. This is not about finding a corporation and selling them some big package and making tons of money. That's going to happen, and that's a great benefit. But the truth is, it's about the families utilizing the benefit, right? If you sell them this big package and nobody books nannies or babysitters, they're not going to buy again. So you kind of have a new market here, people that don't know you super well, and you might get some different kinds of complaints than you've gotten before because of the lack of trust. So we're going to talk about what we can do to build that. And essentially, you have to sell the solution twice. You have to sell it once to the company to solve the problem their employees have, and then once to the employees or the families to assure that they use the hours the company has bought. So when you go down this road, I want you to realize why that is, right? Really, truthfully, you're not just the in-network provider, but you are the right solution. So today I want to talk about how do we effectively speak to both the company and the employee, and is it really worth all this work? Because this is a lot. And I can promise you that it is, but we'll talk about why. All right, so why should you offer corporate care? Quickly going to go through this. Guys, unlike nanny services, where in many of our markets, only the upper middle class to high wealth families can afford it because it's a luxury, corporate care is a real problem, okay? It's going to help parents, especially working moms, stay in the workforce. And guys, check this out. 79% of companies plan to increase their spending on family benefits this year alone. 79%. That's a lot. So they may have never offered corporate care before, or they're exploring new options for better partners, right? Or they're increasing how many hours they give families. This is a need that we have never seen before. If you were a nanny or a sitter, or you have children, or you have nieces or nephews, you know working from home is not a solution to the childcare problem. In fact, for me, with my 4 kids, it makes it harder. I still come to the office because otherwise they'll find me and they will make my life crazy. So I say this to say, pre-COVID, post-COVID, wherever COVID falls in place, this need will always exist. And it's an incredible one that makes a really big impact, okay? So a couple of other things for those of you that maybe still aren't sold. 73% of employees work and care for a child or a parent. That's a big piece of the pie. 1 in 4 parents report being fired for work interruptions due to childcare. That breaks my heart. The rate of working parents quitting has doubled since 2018. Seriously. And it's costing our country alone, America alone, there are other countries, of course, but America alone, it's costing $122 billion in lost wages, productivity, and tax revenue just for last year. So if I've given you enough facts to show you, it's a need, guys. It's a need. It's a need. You need to be doing it, okay? And I don't mean just through the big 4. You can do it on your own, and we're going to talk about how. First thing is you're going to help the company understand the problem. Our last webinar, we talked about this in depth, and we talked about how oftentimes the person who is saying yes to the benefit may not really understand at all what they're buying. They may not have children. They may have never been a babysitter. They may not face the things that their employees face. So MMC sent out a questionnaire. I'm going to share that with you because we're going to need to refer to it. We sent out this questionnaire. If you did not get this, you can still download it on our website. And it had 12 strategic questions that you can ask companies, right? And the purpose of this was, 1, to help them identify what their employees really need, and 2, to also help them see this is a problem, okay? So I want to go over a couple of these questions. I would love if someone else could read. So if someone who is willing to read a couple of them for me would be great. If someone can read number 1 for some of the questions that you may choose to ask companies to help them recognize the problem. Could someone read this for me?
I'll read it.
Thank you.
Sure. What are some of the patterns of excuses, stresses, and problems your employees share when they are struggling to procure childcare? If you've shared this potential option for them, have they expressed any fears about using it?
Okay, so here we're trying to understand, does the employer really understand the pain point, right? Do they really understand what their employees are going through? And part of our role here is to guide them in ensuring they have all the facts they need and can make an informed decision about what's best. Okay, so do you see how we kind of worded it a specific way other than, do your employees miss work because they don't have childcare? We didn't just ask that. We asked something a little more deep that made them think, right? That made them want, if they didn't know the answer, to go and talk to an employee and ask them this question. And so that is how this guide is designed. Somebody read number 2.
I can. What are the consequences your business is experiencing related to childcare deficits each year, i.e. specific financial loss, absenteeism data, reputation and conversion issues due to reschedules, delays, missed deadlines, turnover, etc.?
Okay, so again, we're not saying our employees unable to get the job done, right? We're giving them ideas on how, because that employee can't report to work, the trickle down effect that it's causing, right? And as we spoke about last time, we're not going to give them just a one size fits all templated solution. We're going to customize by your 4 options. We're going to customize the solution based on what they actually need. Okay, so asking these questions helps them do that. Let's do one more. If someone can read number 3.
Oh yeah, I can read number 3.
Thank
This
you.
is Nasa here. If you can't resolve this issue, how will it impact the future of your business?
Okay, so that is a really big one where we're, now we've spoken to the needs, the interests, and the barriers, and we're not trying to predict what they are, but we're really focused on, here are the needs, here is why you need to do it. How is this going to impact the business overall? So if you haven't downloaded the corporate care guide, make sure that you guys do that, because that's going to be the first step when you get that connection with the right person. Is you really want to help that company understand the problem as a whole. And we're literally just going through real life, going through this right now with a company in Winston-Salem. They came to us wanting a discount. They said, we just want you to offer our employees a discount. Well, is that really going to solve the problem? Right? So I got on the phone with her, did a bunch of research, figured out that it could solve the problem for maybe about 10%, but the other 90% can't afford our hourly rate because it's a lot higher when we're going through a corporation. So a discount's not going to cut it. They need to offer a different solution. So we'll talk about the 2 that we focused on. All right. Oh, I'm in grad school right now for consulting, and my professor said something that I wanted to share with you because I just thought it was great. If you are dealing with C-level executives, right? So chief of HR, for example, a CEO, a COO, right? People with those abbreviations, C-level executives. You want to make sure that you're brief and brilliant. You are not asking them all 12 questions. You will lose them by question 4 or 5, okay? So when we submit the proposal to them, we want to make sure it speaks directly to the need, to the problem that you've identified. You're doing bullet points, you're being brief and brilliant. Remember, C-level executives, their greatest resource is their time. So depending on who you're speaking to, you're going to have to tweak how many of those questions you ask. I give you 12, so you can pick the ones that you like the best. Do not ask all 12. All right, good, just make sure. Oh, there we go. You want to be clear, correct, and concise. Today, we're going to learn about options for solutions and continue to help you shift your mindset to work in this space. Do we have any questions so far, gentlemen?
Yeah, we have one question. Where can they download the corporate care guide, the one that you just showed in your website?
They can go to Metzger Consulting under bonuses, and it's right there. under bonuses at Mega Metzger Consulting. Yep. And it's totally free. They just got to sign up and there it comes. It's the very first thing that you'll see. Send me the guide. Okay. right.
Okay, and we have another question from Maryland. How do we identify the right person to speak to?
Good question, my friend. So you gonna need to do a little bit of research on the company, right? You're gonna have to do a little bit of research on the company. And we talked about this in detail in our last one. But I would say employee benefits director, director of human resources, chief human resource officer. Those are kind of the people that you're looking to talk to. We tend to find that if you work through the relationships you already have, right? So clients that you're already working with. And there is a script that I shared last time that I can share again with you guys of what we ask for. But basically we tell them, here's the problem we're trying to solve. Can you connect me to the right person at your organization? And when I send out this email, not everybody responds. I'll be honest and tell you that. However, I have gotten in front of the heads of very large organizations that you would recognize even if you weren't in my city. And the email introduction is so much better than like a LinkedIn message or an email that's going to get caught in spam, right? That email introduction using the network you already have is huge. Your nannies, where are their family members working, right? Your clients, what are they doing? Where are they working? Who can they introduce you to? Okay. But those are the titles that you're really going to want to be looking for. Employee benefits director, director of employee benefits, HR manager, head of HR, chief HR. All right. Anyone else? We good to move on? All right. So again, when we get that connection, what's the problem the employees have around childcare? Ask those right questions, figure out the specific needs, and create a solution that's easy for them. Someone read this last bullet point. It is that important that you guys understand so that you can have continued success in this. Someone read that last bullet point for me.
I can read it.
Thank you. Okay, I think we lost you there. But thank you, Rihanna. I think that was you. If you sell them a contract and they don't understand the true needs, it will fail. Okay. This is all about relationships, which is one of my core values here at MMC. So maybe it's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about corporate care. But it's all about long-term relationships. So let me give you guys a scenario, because I'm sure this hasn't happened to you guys. I'm sure it has. You have a really great month with placements and you do, I don't know, 5 placements in a month and you're rocking and rolling. And then next month, no one signs up at all. And it kind of goes like this, right? A little bit of a roller coaster. And that's hard. How do you pay yourself? How do you cover your expenses? How do you plan ahead when you have a roller coaster of cash flow? So what if you had just, I don't know, 2 corporate clients, 2 corporations that you could count on to give you a large amount of money every year at a certain time? When I say large amount of money, it's going to vary anywhere from $10,000 to $250,000, right? But every year you knew that was going to come because corporations pay in advance. So you could count on that. And suddenly now you're able to do your budget a little more predictably. You're able to take your draws or your salary a little bit more predictably. And you know what you're able to hire for a little bit more predictably. So that is one of the biggest advantages of doing corporate care, ladies and gentlemen, is that you're going to have that predictable cash flow for once, but it has to make sense and it has to meet the need. Here's that visual exploration we talked about. Here's some more reasons why you should do this. Okay. I think this is my last slide. I think I hopefully haven't drummed it too hard, but I'm a little excited about it if you can't tell. So the solution should speak to the needs and problems of the employer, but also the employee, right? So we're reducing absenteeism and turnover, decreasing turnover, increasing employee retention and morale. Are we reducing costs or building trust? Are we reducing barriers to access, right? All these things that you can think about can be ways in which you sell it. So let's talk about our 4 options. And then if y'all will start thinking, we're going to have our 4 different companies that we are going to chat with today to find out what their need is and what option's best for them. Y'all getting ready? Okay. So here are 2 options, and I will be candid with you and say, these are the 2 I don't love, but they're options. Okay. Option 1 is access only. That means a corporation pays upfront annual amount to give employees access, AKA your registration fee. Okay. The family then will book the agency directly and pay for all the hours they use. So option 1 is okay if the corporation doesn't want to invest a ton of money, if they just want to test it and see how it works. But model number 1 is going to be hard if the employees are making average salaries, because they're not going to necessarily be able to afford the hourly. So then they're not going to use it, right? Option 2 would be a culmination of, yes, you have access, plus you're offering a discounted rate via a membership. Many of you have this membership model where you might charge $50 an hour normally, but if you're a member, you pay $38. So that's the same idea here, is a discounted rate. So if I had a corporation that just wanted access, that just wanted to give their people registration for free, I would give them that option 1, but I would also give them option 2. And I would explain to them why, right? You want to ensure that they're going to actually use it. The benefit is no good if it goes unused. So by offering discounted rates, you can then hopefully get more utilization. All right, here are the 2 that we get real excited about. The 50-50 model. The corporation pays upfront an annual amount to give employees access, and upfront 50%. Upfront 50%. So what that would look like is you would say you are buying registration fee for 50 employees and 1,000 hours to be distributed to those 50 employees as you see fit. Don't worry, Engine Hire can track it all for you. And then when the family needs it, they would book and pay the other 50%. So if you charge $50 an hour, the corporation's paying $25, the family's paying $25. Again, lowering the barrier to entry for the family so that they'll use it. Here's our favorite. Are y'all ready? The bank. This is where the company pays the upfront access. Notice every single one of these, they're paying me registration fees. Every single one of these. If you don't have a registration fee, you need one now. The corporation is paying for the bank, either monthly or annually, to share with employees as they see fit. Any unused hours will be donated to a charity, and additional hours can be purchased as needed. The agency will handle everything for ease of use for the family, and we can even consider giving them a discount, just a little one, because we're going to inflate the rate anyway. Okay, y'all got the 4? What are the 4? Somebody tell me, because we need it for our workshop. Come on, friends. What are our 4 options?
Okay. The first option is access only. Option 2 is membership. Option 3 is 50-50. And then model 4 is bank of hours.
Right. Very good. Which of the 4 options would get the most utilization because it reduces the most barriers?
Model number 4.
Very good. Very good. All right. So tip 3 is to be patient. You have to know this, guys. The sales cycle for corporate care is a lot longer than what you're used to. Many times the decision makers for the company are not the users or the parents. They may have boards of directors that they have to meet with, and they only meet, most boards only meet quarterly, some meet monthly. They may have C-level executives to approve, okay? So be patient. You're not going to sell this tomorrow. It could happen. I hope it happens, but just know it's normal, okay? All right, let's do our workshop. Here we go. So we got 3 companies. Let's start with ABC. ABC has one location in your target market, which means you already have a presence there, which means you already have nannies. They have 100 employees and they believe in work-life balance and helping their employees. Okay. So what do we do? What's the first thing we do, guys? Come on.
Research.
Good. Research. Very good. And we're researching to find out what?
Pay level.
Pay level. Okay. Why is that important?
To
Can
know if they
someone-
can afford us.
Yes. Can the end users afford you? If someone's getting paid $18 an hour, they cannot afford $50 an hour for childcare, right? Okay, good. So we've done our research. We know who we're talking to because we found them on LinkedIn. We know they're the right person to make the decision, right? So what are we going to use to ask them the right questions?
The corporate care guide.
Right. And are we going to ask them all 12?
No, we're going to be brief and be brilliant.
Very good. So we've asked them the questions and we've identified they don't care the cost. They want their employees to have exceptional work-life balance, love working there and telling all of their friends. So which two of the 4 solutions are we going to suggest?
I think we're trying to give other people the opportunity, but 3 and 4.
3
Temper
and
tots.
4. Yes. 50-50 and the bank. Very good, guys. You got this. Let's do it 2 more times and then we'll have some time for questions. Okay. The We Know Best law firm, 1 location, your target market, 60 employees, needs employees in court, no matter the cost, right? So what are we going to do? Tell me, somebody new that hasn't spoken. What do we do? How do we meet their needs? I'm gonna call on y'all. You know I will too. All right, let's call on Rebecca. Hey girl, hadn't heard from you in forever. Rebecca Percy, what's the first step? Rebecca's on the phone. Come on, guys. You got this. Let's do it.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry.
You're good.
Oh, I was just gonna, you're asking what the first tip was that you explained?
What's the first
Yeah.
step you take when the We Know Best law firm calls and says, no matter what, we need our lawyers in the courtroom? What are we going to do?
We're gonna help the company understand why they need to hire a nanny
Very good.
to help with this. Yeah.
Good. By asking the right questions. And when we ask
Mhm.
the right questions, it's okay, Rebecca. Sorry to call you while you're on the phone with payroll. That's important. We ask the right questions and we identify that the time money, that will be saved because the lawyer's charging $400 an hour. What is the option that we recommend to them?
Oh, sorry. What is the option you would recommend? Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking to me.
You're
Sorry.
okay.
Go
I'll follow
ahead.
you all the way through, my friend. Do you offer the access only, the discount, the 50-50 bank, or the 100% coverage?
I feel like maybe the 50-50, but
Okay.
also the discount one might work too.
Okay.
Like giving a discount on the placement fee, for example.
Okay. All right. So you're focused on a full-time nanny, right?
Yeah.
Using full-time nannies. So guys, that's just another advantage of why you need to be doing corporate care. Because if you already built trust with this corporation and its employees, when they do have a young child, someone that's not in school, or they need a full-time nanny, they're going to think of you guys first. So you could offer an exclusive deal, shall we call it? I don't love discounts, but exclusive deal for their employees for full-time placements. Okay. But for corporate care, the 50-50 is a good option and the bank. Okay. Last one. If you've spoken up already, you can speak again because it's different this time. 123 accounting firm has 2 locations in your target market with 200 employees. And they just want a discount for their employees. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people, isn't it? So what are we going to do? Come on, guys, talk to me.
At that point, do you want to help them to understand what the problem is so maybe they can think differently?
Yes, ma'am. You got it. You are so brilliant. It's good to see you.
Thank you, Megan.
What else? What else are we going to do? What's next? Come on.
So have they already called us or are we calling them?
They're calling you.
Okay. So I would say we would give them the 4 options. I know they only want a discount for their employees for the initial registration fee, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do we just speak to that or do we actually give them all the options?
That's a good question. So it asked the right, so research shows, remember when the industry, everybody was offering 3 placement tiers? With 10%, you get 30 days. With 12%, you get 60 days. With 15%, you get 120 days. Remember that was like the thing for like the past 5 years? Well, research has recently shown that when presented with 3 or more options, the buyer doesn't make a decision. It's overwhelming. So I've been recommending to the MMC community that they do what's called the Chipotle method, which is one option where you can add. Okay. So taking that idea, I would say 1, 2 options that are tailored to what they asked for. So as, is it Jackie with the mother's prayer? It's Jackie, right? Yeah. So Miss Jackie shared, we asked the right questions to get their mindset. So if they can identify and recognize that this is a true need that is impacting their employees and their business, we would be able to sell them 3 and 4. But we don't want to just assume that, right? We want to really hear what they have to say. And if it means we offer them just 1 and 2, that's okay. They may just be getting their toe wet and hearing the responses of the employees. And then next year, when it's time for renewal, we have a discussion of here's what our usage was, here was the feedback, here's what we suggest we do for next year. So I don't want you to go into every scenario with, here are all the options in the world, because you're going to overwhelm them, right? They're not going to pick one. I want you to really hear them, hear what their needs are. Sometimes they'll tell you, here's our budget, what can you do? Unfortunately, most of the time they don't say that. Sometimes they, will say, here's what we want. What does that look like? Recently, I was working with a corporation and the end user had or the decision maker was not an end user. She had no clue. So I had to make a video at going through the proposal, explaining it to her so that she truly got it. And when she did, she was like, oh, this makes so much sense now. But that told me that my proposal might have been a little not succinct enough, because anyone should be able to pick up the proposal and understand what you're selling and why you're selling it, right? If you have to send a video with it, there's too many options. So we're still learning and perfecting. It just kind of depends on the corporation. But again, I don't want this to come across as an out-of-the-box solution that's going to fit anyone. That's why I give you the 4 options so that you can kind of tailor what works for that company. Good? All right. I have my last tip, and then we're going to go into questions. Does that sound like a plan? All right. 123 accounting firm with your 200 employees. Please sign up. All right. Tip 4 is to continue to sell the benefit to the employees. So when they sign, whether it's option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4, here's the thing, guys. You don't lose money on any of these options. Why don't I lose money? Well, option 1 is just paying your registration fee for you. We all know that that is just money in the bank. Option 2 is paying your registration fee for you and the discount that you set, because you know what your gross margins are, at least 35% when you employ, and therefore you won't go below that. Okay. Option 3 is the 50-50. They're going to pay you in advance. You've set the margin high enough that it's not a problem. And option 4, the same thing. So we're not losing money by selling any of these options. So no matter what option we sell, we want them to use the service. So we need to sell to the employees, okay? You can give the C-suite gift cards to give away around the holidays, right? Handwritten notes to the C-suite, to the contacts that you have. Regular updates of usage, maybe once a month, once a quarter. You're brief and brilliant and tell that contact what an amazing decision it was to partner with you. And here's all the families that benefited because of it, right? You could ask them, how do you want me to engage with your employees? What would work best? You could be present on site, have a little lunch and learn. I don't mean you go out and buy expensive food, guys, but you can buy snacks. You can buy Subway sandwiches. Who cares? It's free food, right? And start creating that relationship with the employees. You can have a referral program or that special, hate the word, discount offer to help them utilize your service in other ways, like the full-time placements. Okay. So again, I'm putting a lot here, but I want you to get the full picture. Once we have told them the options that we think are best for them agreeing and buying isn't the end. We're still there making sure they use it. And I will be honest and say that is one of the biggest differences between you guys doing this and one of the big four doing it. The big four do not care. When I say big four, I mean the four organizations that are killing corporate care right now, Bright Horizons, Care.com, Corporate Care Solutions, and Life Care. That's the big four. They don't care if people use it. They get their money up front, they move on with their life. But I know you guys care. That's why you're here. That's why you started your business, because you care. You care about the families, you care about the caregivers. And that's going to be your key differentiator and what's going to make you so successful. All right, question time. You guys can just ask them out, or the gentleman can read them for me, whatever you guys want to do. Daniel.
Megan,
Yes, dear.
this is Jackie. I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there another option for out of network as far as a daycare option? Had you built that into it?
I haven't, because the way that I'm designing the program is for that individuals that are already doing placements are able to offer this easily, right? So to me, a daycare would be a big barrier to entry. To you who has daycare experience, yes, let's explore that. Why not, Jackie? That works for your organization. That could work for your community. Absolutely. If you have connections with daycares, why not?
Okay, just a thought.
Yeah, it's a great thought. And I would take it even further to say, on that same note, if you're already offering pet care, if you're already offering companion care, great, more that you can sell as benefits to the corporation. But I want to take you from what you're doing now and just shift the mindset and say, it's really similar in the way we deliver it. It's just how we're selling it that's different. And don't let the word sell scare you. If you believe in what you're doing and you believe in your caregivers, then you're problem solving is what you're doing. That story that you tell yourself in your head about selling and how it kind of makes you icky, move past that and look at it as, I'm creating solutions. I'm solving problems. So for you, Jackie, and for those of you that have those awesome experiences in daycare, do it, girl. Do it. I love it.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Other questions?
Hi, Megan. It's Dara. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you, Dara?
Good, good. So we're really referral based, and I'm wondering if this type of backup childcare stuff, which I know, Stacy Steelman, who I adore more than anybody on the planet Earth, has her hand in the big cookie jar down here where we are. So it's really something that I haven't touched. It actually scares me to death, the amount of management of this. And so as a referral agency and not a staffing agency where these women and men in the company are referral based, they are not my employees. They're the employees of the families. How does that work? I mean, would I have to have A, insurance policy, and B, Okay, that's what I thought. So, okay, then that makes a lot of sense. So we would have to get the gals kind of on board to a payroll kind of company and then go that. Okay, good stuff.
So for those of you
Yeah.
that didn't catch my facial expressions, any business that you have, whether it's a nanny agency, whether it's making widgets, whether it's making cars, there is always some level of risk involved. Professional liability insurance is critical. It is the only way I sleep at night is because Adam Griggs, wherever he went, takes great care of us and ensures that we're totally covered. So when we get that phone call, and we've gotten it, that says, we're so angry, we're going to sue you. I make one call to Adam or to his organization. He lets the insurance company know, they handle it. I'm out of it. I don't have to stress. I don't have to stay up at night. I know that my 4 kids are still protected because I have that shield. Okay. Whether you're employing, whether you're referring, I don't care what your contract says, you still need professional liability insurance, at least in America. I would also think Canada. Other parts of the world, I'm not as familiar with how their judicial system works, but here they make it real easy for people to sue you for any reason, right? I spilled coffee on myself. Well, you ordered hot coffee. So you want that insurance. The employment piece is important to me for a couple of reasons. One, when they are employees, you can tell them what to do, how to do it, what to wear, when to show up. Okay. You control, as much as you can control, the quality of work. When they're not employees, they could do whatever they want. And in fact, when you look at the IRS 12 points between independent contractor and employee, one of the points of an independent contractor is they can say, I'm not going to do this job today. I'm going to hire, Dara to do this job instead. Do you want your nanny subbing out nannies for other nannies? No, thank you. So don't let employment scare you. We're going to do a follow-up webinar all about employment. I've employed people for 20 years. You don't let it scare you. Look at it as an opportunity. And if you partner with Engine Hire, they have all the technology. Everything is automated. We've eliminated 1.5 positions here at Preferred Childcare because of the automation. We don't need to be, it's tracking everything for us, right? So understand that if you have the right technology in place, you have the right systems in place, it doesn't have to be scary. And you don't have to go out and hire 100 employees. You could start with 4 or 5 and see how it goes. One company, 4 or 5 nannies, get your feet wet, get you moving. Okay. What else y'all got? I got some messages here. Gentlemen, are y'all here? I don't know what.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so we have a question from Maryland. And how do we assure the company that we have enough care providers to serve their employees?
Good question. So you're going to do your research. You're going to ask your questions, right? One of the questions is going to be, excuse me, around families and utilization. So for example, literally yesterday, having a phone call with a wonderful, wonderful agency out of North Carolina, not my own. And she was approached by a corporation out of Arizona. And she was like, do I go to Arizona or not? I was like, well, it depends. What do they want? And we went in with option 3 and 4 based on the research that she had done. However, they came back to her this morning and said, oh, I know we have 200 employees and I know we want full coverage for them, but I just asked them and only 2 of them really ever need childcare. Wait, what? What? How did you miss that in the question in the beginning? Don't waste your time putting together a proposal if nobody has kids or wants kids, right? Or is going to use childcare. So worst case scenario, and it's not even worst case, Maryland. Worst case scenario, you get a corporation and they say 80% of our employees have kids, 80% of our employees utilize it now because we're with one of the big 4. We just want someone more local that is going to have a better deliverable. It's going to have better caregivers. Can you do it? This is what you do. Absolutely. We know exactly what your employees need, and we're here to learn more about them to make sure that we have tailored our solutions to meet all of their expectations. We're going to need 6 to 8 weeks to get you guys up and running because we're going to hire a team just for them. Right? And then you call your friends, you hire a VA, you call Megan, she'll come to San Antonio, and we get your tribe of employees going. Right? You guys can do it. That is going to be literally what I call worst case scenario, is they hand you $100K and you have to tell them 6 to 8 weeks before we can start. I can think of worse problems to have than being
That
handed a
sounds
bunch of
great,
money.
Megan.
So no joke, we did this, I think it was like 7 years ago. I sat in this boardroom and it was actually for a church. I know that sounds weird, but it is a mega church. And they said, Megan, we do worshiping well and you do childcare well. So we want you to do our daycares, our after school cares, our summer camps. We want you to do it all. And we're going to need, I think it was like 55 full-time teachers. And I was like, no problem. We've got this. We will find out exactly what your families need. We will customize it, blah, 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 blah. They signed a big old 6-figure contract. I got in the car, called my COO, and I was like, we're going to have to learn to hire teachers like now. And we did. And they paid us a lot of money for a very long time.
Wow. That's awesome, Megan. You're the queen of it. That's for sure.
All I'm saying, my friends, is there's no hurt in trying, right? Most of the time with my consulting clients, that's not what happens, right? What happens is small growth. But I don't want you to be afraid of growth. You've got the system, you've got the technology, you've got the information. You can do this. We can hire you VAs. Level is an incredible organization. I could put you in touch with the CEO tomorrow. He'll get you people that are fluent in English and we can roll. All right. Okay. What else do we got?
Okay, we have another question from James, Manny, and me. Okay, outside school holidays, why would a family typically need this type of ad hoc childcare? I imagine many families will either have a nanny or the child in school or nursery.
Okay, a really good question, James. So this type of childcare can be utilized in a couple of different ways, right? We are not going to police it because that's not our job. What I have seen that it's used for is the following. School is out a lot. There are holidays, there are teacher work days, there are somebody in the class tested positive for COVID, so now everybody's out for a week, right? There are summer breaks, there are spring breaks, there are fall breaks, right? You have sick care, you have the primary caregiver, which could be their nanny or could be a family member is out of town or sick, right? Backup childcare, or corporate care as we call it, is just that. It's typically brought into place in backup care situations. So this is not this family is going to use you Monday through Friday for 52 weeks. That typically doesn't happen. We will get a Monday through Friday for 2 weeks because dad's traveling and mom needs an extra pair of hands. So it really varies on why they use you. Again, we're not policing it. So if they use it for a date night, that's up to the company to determine if that's a yes or a no. That's not our job, right? But typically what we find is they're out of school, they're sick, daycare is closed for X, family members traveling, right? So it's exactly that. And last time we had a question about the sick piece, sick care, 10% utilization. It's very small. We are not going to be exposing our caregivers to a whole bunch of airborne illnesses. That's what we have found, at least. We just need help. And you never know the family's makeup, especially if it's a really awesome company that's offering this benefit. You know, the parents may have moved to a new city or state to work there. I don't have the community of caregivers I have here are all ones I have built. I don't have grandparents or sisters or someone that can help me. So, and even in that, like, with going to grad school, for example, I'm here till 8:30 tonight. I'm utilizing the network of providers I have. So families have varied needs. All we know for sure is at some point, they're going to need backup care. What else we got?
Okay, another question from Lisa. Megan, what do you believe is the current competitive registration fee to charge companies?
It's a really good question, Lisa. So I'm gonna tell y'all a secret. It's not a secret any longer. I had this incredible client who decided to go incognito and pretend to be a company and contact the Big Four. Y'all, I'm not kidding. She literally did this last month and she got me specific pricing, their pitches. It is pitiful. One of the Big Four sent over a Word document as their proposal. And no joke, Miss Lisa, they suggest for her organization of 75 employees that she buys 10 backup care days, 10. And it would cost her $10,000. That's $1,000 a day, max 8 hours. And here's the other thing that the Big Four are doing that gets under my skin. If mama only needs someone for 5 hours, the Big Four counts it as a full day. Why? Why is that a full day? You're only going to pay the caregiver for 5 hours. Why are you penalizing the corporation for a full day? So if that gives you some ideas, you've got a lot of leg room here, a lot of leg room, a lot to work with. So we value our registration fees the same, $250 per person. That's not what we actually charge the organization. What we like to do, and I'll pull up a proposal real quick, but what we like to do is we would like to say, this is the value, but we're giving it to you for this, right? Because we're so nice. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we really just want to solve the problem. You also could go to our website right now and see that it's $250. We didn't make that up. We didn't inflate that. The inflated thing is the hourly rate. And that's because it's a corporation. Think about it. If you've ever planned a wedding or had a wedding or know anything about weddings, the second you contact any sort of organization and say it's for a wedding, boom, it goes up 50% every single time. Okay. The corporations have the money and the pockets to pay, right? You're having to do something slightly different. It might require more staff. It might require more technology. You shouldn't feel guilty for charging a fair rate and being able to pay a fair rate. I'm pulling up a proposal while we keep talking questions so you guys can see it.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Megan.
You're welcome, my friend. Always good to see you.
Megan, I have a question. This is Massa here. I'm just wondering, you mentioned registration fee. What you're charging is $250. Are you talking about the search fee, like the initial, like before they start? Are you talking about babysitting service?
So at Preferred Childcare, you pay me $250 before you can utilize anything. Before you
Even
can
anything.
Anything. It's a you pay to play, right? It is a way to ensure that the families are serious about getting childcare, can't afford childcare. Does that card go through? Are you chasing them, right? And they take you more seriously if you have a registration fee. Think about it. We have a fancy gym here, sports center, and they have a membership fee and a sign-up fee. Y'all, it's something crazy for North Carolina. I was a member there for like a year. I think it was like $199, and then you paid per month like $98. I'm going to Sports Center if I'm paying $98 a month versus Planet Fitness, $10, no sign up, they could care less, right? So it's all about your branding, meeting the needs of your clients. But for us, we found that the registration fee was critical and important because it allowed them to become a member, allowed them to have access to our service, and made it a little bit more exclusive. Okay, so here is an example of the bank, right? So waived registrations for up to 30 employees to access our service, valued at $7,500. But the whole thing is $7,997. So I'm not asking them for $7,500. I'm giving them a small discount, right? It's actually a pretty big discount if you ask me, but all that is, guys, is pure profit. But if those employees were to go to my website today and wanted to access my services, they would have to pay me $250. And they do all day, every day without talking to me. It's crazy. Okay.
So Megan, are they paying $250 per employee?
Technically, that's what this says. Yes.
Yeah, okay, got it.
Yeah. And then in this offer, based on what they needed, we gave them 144 hours or 18 days. See, I'm differentiating myself with the big four, saying you can pay by the hour
Mhm.
to use as they see fit, right? Access to backup care, employee marketing initiative to ensure success, tracking, thank you, Engine Hire, and access to additional hours. Again, this is tailored towards my community, not yours. So please note, we do have a 4-hour minimum reservation. No nanny wants to go anywhere for less than 4 hours.
Right. By the way, I don't know, I saw a couple of California agencies on here, and after going to APNA, I raised my fees in January. So we're now doing finally San Diego. I feel like we've caught up to LA. We're doing a $500 registration fee. I have not had one person balk at that. Not one person. Yep. Yay. Hooray. Hooray. And so we're at 18, 20, and 22% and 25%. So we're getting there.
I'm so proud of you. That is awesome.
Thank you. We're
Awesome.
super stoked. So right on. Thank you, Megan. You're awesome. You are awesome. So
You're
thank you.
sweet, guys. I appreciate y'all this opportunity. All right. I am texting my client that I'm running late. So let's take 2 more questions and then I have to go jump on this consult. 2 more. Who's got them?
Okay, so we have a follow-up question to Liz's question from Bridget. Okay, what is the difference between the hourly rate you charge the company versus the hourly rate you pay out to the sitter?
Good question. So it's going to vary per market, but if you're employing, you need to be at least 35% margin, at least. I would love 50, but at least 35 to cover your overhead and things of that nature. So at the end of the day, I think if you stay above the 35, you're going to be able to cover most, but with what you can charge corporations, I would love to see it more towards 45%.
Okay, and last question, Meg. For the banking hour option, do you suggest a certain amount of hours per month per employee?
Oh, that's a good question. So I think it really comes down to hearing the corporation out and what they want, right? And not going in too big. So I'd rather go in with a smaller package, as you saw, 144 hours. That's not a ton. I'd rather go in, have it totally all utilized, and then be able to tell that executive, your employees are loving this benefit so much. We are at 75% utilization. Do you want to go ahead and secure more hours for next quarter, right? That looks great, doesn't it? Versus if I sold them 20,000 hours and we're at 10% utilization, they're going to be kind of grumpy about it. So I don't have necessarily an equation. I think it depends on the research you do and what offer you're giving. So for example, if you're giving the bank, you know that more utilization is going to happen than if you're doing 50-50 or the membership discount, right? So there's not really an equation. I could work on guiding you guys though on what that would look like. That's a good question. So it's really going to depend on what they say, budgets, their hourly rates that the employees make, right? There's a lot here. And that's why we want to ask the right questions up front in that corporate care assessment. So, all right. Was that helpful? All right.
Very helpful. Thank you so much.
Good.
Thank you,
So
Megan.
next month, let's talk about employment and let's talk about what you need to do and how to make it easy and how to not be scared of it. Does that sound like a good plan? For those of you that have already partnered with Engine Hire on corporate care, we are now offering group coaching. So the gentleman will email you information to join that group coaching. And that's going to be just diving deep and answering questions that you have individually and learning from one another. So I'm excited about that. So next time you'll see me will be either for group coaching if you've already partnered with us, or it'll be for our next webinar to talk about employment. And I'm really excited because Akash and I have been working on some really great strategical alliances, such as that of Homework Solutions, and Adam Griggs, who are both here today. Thank you. And they are going to be offering you, really easy ways to become an employer. So I'm really proud of you guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you for what you do for your community. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys next month.